All right. Is it back to me?
I guess it's back to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I told you.
What's our subscriber count at?
Juju had some great
407.
chickens. So I went out and got me some chickens.
Oh, complete side note, but I'm thinking of it, so I'm going to say it real quick.
Go ahead.
We did you talk about the video of Frosty? I forgot to talk
Yeah.
about this in Shop News. Okay, I already talked about that. We did the video, and if you're in Frosty, that'll be available.
That's old news.
Okay.
It's old
I'm
news.
just saying.
All right, start over.
Okay, so this here is one of Juju's designs. It's a placemat. And when you buy it, you get two different sizes. One's in a 6x10 hoop, one's in a 5x7 hoop. So the finished size of the 6x10 version finishes at, oh, I wrote this down somewhere. Oh, drat. Well, it's bigger.
10 by 15 and a half.
Oh,
That's
thank you. There you go. I can't read it from here, but Danny can. And the 5x7 hoop finishes at
Oh, no, that was the 5.
10 by 15 and a half. Okay. And the
For
6
5x7, that's bigger than the hoop.
Yeah, but I'm going to explain. The 6x10 finished size of the placemat is 12 1/4 by 18 and a half. Well, Becky says, okay, the 5x7 size is just fine and dandy for me, the finished size. But I do have a bigger hoop, like many of you have a bigger hoop. Now, can you go back there, Ed? What Designs by Juju and just about everybody else does is each one of these little blocks, and count them, there are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I love that you're pointing to the back of this
Right?
page. Nobody can see what you're talking about.
Can y'all count to 6? Because Brent can't.
No, but I'm watching it.
You're
Nobody-
pointing.
There
yeah,
are
nobody can
3
see.
chicken blocks.
There you
I'm
go.
just saying that I can see you going through the
I
motions
can't,
back
this
here.
is too, there's 6 blocks. They have you hoop, stabilizer, bring up the design, mark out where the batting goes,
So
trims the batting.
So you're getting two hoopings for each block here, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
So there's 2 there and then 2 there. Okay.
yeah. 3 chickens and 3 accent blocks. There, how's that sound? Now, some of you will go, well, Becky,
Chick-pa-pa.
some of you will say I can combine those in one hoop, blah, de, blah, blah. That's true. But you'll still end up with stuff that has stabilizer in it, small pieces of batting, oversized fabric, then you're dead and trimmed down. And I said, self, I got me a scanner. So I got a bigger hoop too, but I got me a scanner. And so do you Dream Machine people, and so do you Stellaire people. What?
I'm just thinking when you say I have a scanner, all I'm picturing is that guy by the scanner, like old school, like listening for the police report. And like,
Okay, no.
Oh.
In my machine, I have it. So
Oh, that's Ethel's house is just called the scanner
Dream
too.
Machine
Oh,
has a
she's all right.
scanner.
We have a scanner this way.
Yeah.
I didn't say Solera. I said Stellaire. What is the next step up? The Dream Machine got replaced
The
by
Stellaire.
Stellaire.
But the scanner
can-
isn't built in.
No, it isn't built in, but it still has.
Yeah, it has
it has the same
imaging.
feature
It has
as the imaging.
Yes, it has
So
imaging
anything
capabilities.
Dream Machine and up.
Yes.
So, but of course I went, oh, I have a luminaire. So if I'm making placemats that are smaller than my biggest hoop,
Just do the whole thing in the ginormous hoop.
yeah.
Okay.
Have you done that? Because I had an aha moment on this, people. I went, why didn't I think of
I
this
just
earlier?
sell these things. I
For
don't play
like
with them.
every project we've been doing, like the Kimberbell stuff, how many little blocks do we make and then we cut them all out and then we sew them all back together? And inside of every single one, we have all this stabilizer and all this batting, and the seams are hard to get right and they're hard to match up, and it drives me nuts.
And you use a lot of
And you
stabilizer.
waste a lot of material, which Danny hates
I
doing.
hate it.
So, hi Anita, yay! So what did I decide?
Sometimes I feel
going
like I
to
should
try.
apologize when people say I'm watching on.
What was I going to try? Look what I did. I took my little blocks and I sewed them together first.
Uh-oh.
And I interfaced them because I don't want to use stabilizer. What?
I'm just saying uh-oh.
So and then I took this
He likes to make me edit.
and I put it on a big piece of batting. Now, you could float this if you had a smaller hoop. You could do more than one hooping of this. I'm special. I have a luminaire, so I can actually hoop the whole thing in one shot. Is that cool? Now, I actually took it a step further.
And I just wanted to point that out because when you said you had sewed it together, one of the things I was thinking immediately, you didn't leave enough space to hoop it. But because you're free floating it on the, you don't need to worry about.
Don't you think? I think it
Oh, I
these
know,
things.
I'm just
Brent.
pointing this out for people to consider.
It's basted to my batting, and in addition, I use my favorite 3M cheesy tape. I kept it out of my finished edges, and I have no stabilizer in here either, guys. This is Kimberbell's Project Batting, but you can also use that other stuff I like.
Dream cotton.
No, it's a Dream Blend.
It's a Dream Blend.
Yes.
80-20 Dream
There's
Blend
an
works
80-20,
really well.
the 80-20 and the
Skip
70.
the stabilizer altogether
The
with these battings.
80-20 cotton poly blend and the 70-30 cotton poly
They're a
blend.
tighter weave or something.
It's the blend of the poly and the cotton that makes for a nice stabilizer. So if you are going to do it with straight batting, I believe Quilter's Dream makes a 70-30 blend and an 80-20 blend.
80-20 is what I like.
And they work really well.
They do, and I've now skipped the stabilizer completely.
And rumor is that blend is actually repackaged and renamed for other designers under fancier names and costs more.
So I'm going to stick this in it. Now I can tell you what I did is I went a step further than the normal person because I'm not normal. We all
I always
know
forget how
that.
big that hoop is till I'm looking at it.
But you can do this in any hoop, Brent.
I
At
know.
this point, I can hoop this. And all of this is already together, and I don't have to put it together after,
And
which
you
I
know,
hate.
And then you don't have to figure out how to sew it together and all
I
that.
forgot
yeah.
to give you my stick. I need to give you my stick.
She didn't give me her stick. No, that's what she said?
There you go.
You're
Now-
you're
I'm
slipping.
sleeping. I'm sorry.
Eddie, can you switch to my camera for a minute? I mean my computer. Okay, here's one of my chickens, okay, that's going in my placemat. This is Embroidery Essentials that I'm in right now, so it's not the free one. However, we talked about this last week and no one remembered, so as I went down to isolate what was going on, well, let me do the stitch simulator. See this little arrow up here, guys? I'm going to do it slower because last week I did it too fast. If I click on that, I now have my stitch simulator active, which means I can go along here and see how this is going to stitch out. See what this is doing? Placement line for batting. Guess what I don't need?
A placement line for batting?
Yeah.
Did you have it all basted?
Yeah, I don't need it. It's all ready to go. So I can skip this step. I can ride right by it. Then guess what it does? A tack down stitch for my batting. Guess what I don't have to do?
Skip.
Now,
Skip to do
Now-
my loo.
in Embrilliance, can you actually remove those steps from the stitch out process?
In Essentials you can, and that's what I did.
Okay. That was
In
not in the basic
Essentials,
one?
not in the basics, but
Okay.
the Essentials is only like 130 bucks,
140,
maybe
I think.
Is that,
140
is
bucks.
that the one you pay for?
Yes.
Yes, the
That's
first level you
one.
pay for. It's the one that allowed me.
Okay,
Oh.
that's what I was asking. Okay. So the one that first level, it will allow you to remove steps. Okay.
Oh yeah, and it allows you to. Where am I, Ed? It allows you to create those applique shapes,
The SVG files.
the SVG files to cut out on.
And really, $120 for digitizing stuff is
Look at this.
really cheap. Or
Look at this.
150.
So now I'm not even. I'm like, I didn't make 10 of these. I'm cutting out my chickens this way. It also allowed me. So just to back up to how that's done to create the SVG files. I am able to, let's just do this. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to keep going. Watch. This is the background quilting that it does on that chicken. I could have decided not to do the background quilting this way, and I could have done this whole thing that way, but I didn't. I left it in because I think it's cute little wires. But we do have this pattern on the luminaire. Now, see, this is a placement stitch. See that for the chicken? Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
What that does is tell, if I change that placement stitch and call it applique position,
Then that makes it a
I'm going to
SVG
change.
file.
I'm going to change to my preferred Felani. Okay, so here's my chicken. If I come down here, this is not applique, right? That was my first basement line.
Yep.
That was my tack down of my batting. Oops, sorry, I have to come out of here to show you the next one. When you start to see, Oh man, Becky's clicking. Oh, you know why? Because
Just
I'm
go
up
quick.
here.
Just go crazy clicking things.
I'm up here. No, you know why? Hang on.
Just click it. It's like when the printer doesn't
No,
work
I
and you
like
keep
to
clicking
see
print,
my
and then when you
preferred
finally,
colors. There, that's what I like.
you ever do
Oh,
that?
I think I already changed this one. That's why I can't do it again. This was me playing. Darn it. Well, what you can do is this guy right here, hot pink, I know is a placement line because it gets repeated over and over and over again. See, it says hot pink birch, hot pink birch, hot pink birch, hot pink birch.
Yeah.
Those are placement line tack down, placement line tack down. So I can go into my hot pink right here. When I click on it down here, I can say either there's a color tab or there's an applique tab, and I simply say it is applique position. I do that to all my hot pinks. When I'm done my last hot pink, I do a save all, and it saves all my SVGs for the entire chicken on one little file. All of it. Not onesie twosies. All of it. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
Did we
that's
do
what
this
I
last
did.
week?
We did, but nobody remembered it.
Okay.
So that's why I decided to cover it today. The
It's
other
like,
thing
it's
is,
like when you're watching a documentary and they go to commercial break and then you come back from the commercial break and they repeat everything they said before the commercial break. So in an hour documentary, they gave you 5 minutes worth of info.
okay, well, what else I can do with essentials is if I know I'm putting adhesive on my chickens, which I am because it's a placemat, I can also go and delete all my tack down lines. I don't need to keep them. I can either bypass them on my machine or in essentials I can go delete, 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 delete,
And
delete, delete, delete.
can you show
And
us
they're
how you
gone.
would delete it real quick? Because I'm interested to know.
I
that.
would
mean,
click on it like that,
yeah.
and I would say, whoops, my mouse. Ew. Edit,
And delete.
delete.
Oh.
Or use my delete key, and it's gone. Bada bing, bada boom, it doesn't exist
And
anymore.
Control Z is an undo, I hope.
Well, the undo is right here.
Yeah, but is it Control Z?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't use those shortcuts very often.
that
Because I
was-
have so many different pieces of software. I
But
work
like
in.
Control Z is like the universal undo, though.
Yeah.
Because
Okay, it is. You're right.
because I
So
undo a
that's
lot of
how
stuff 'cause
easy
I'm
it is.
awful at this
But
sort of thing.
but another reason I love this more than anything is when I'm playing around is sending it to my machine. I've got it done. I'm liking it. It does the save my Embrilliance file and it does a save on my working file at the same time.
Mhm.
And my working file is defined as a PES file. Can be any machine, but mine's PES. So it saves them both at the same time. But man, if you're lucky enough to have a Solaris or a Luminaire, baby, I don't know if he's on the same network, so it might not work right now.
Probably not.
You just do a send, you give it a name, and off it goes. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom,
No
boom, boom.
stick,
Nope.
no nothing. It's like whoosh.
Nice.
So I use that feature even if all I am is opening up a budget. Oh, Eric, because I forgot to put him on the same network. They do have to be on the same network. He came from home today, so shame on me. I should have set
them
that up.
real quick if you want.
Go ahead, set up the network.
Wireless LAN wizard.
Don't you have it on your stick?
I do, but I would like them to see how fast it goes. It's really, do you use this feature, Danny?
What's the password?
I get lost without it.
I usually sit at my computer, do a bunch of things, save it. I don't go and sew after.
I have to be good about clearing out my wireless send thing occasionally because I'll go in and go, oh, wow, that's getting kind of full. And then I clear it out. So you don't have to keep. Anybody
see
else
if
out
that-
there do this with
you see-
Embrilliance, by the way? Embrilliance Essentials.
We'll see if that's on.
Okay, want to try it again?
Sure, I'm hoping you're on 2.4.
I also can do all sorts of resizing in here before I do my cutting. So if I wanted to make something smaller or larger, I can do it here and then send it to my machine.
And just as a side note, if you're new to embroidery and you don't want to spend $13,000 or whatever on an embroidery machine, one thing to keep in mind is you can get a less expensive machine. I often encourage people to do this if you're not sure.
And get
Start out with like a 1600, which is a fairly inexpensive machine, and invest a little bit of money in the software, because if you're in it for the design work and you want to kind of do your own
Still
thing,
didn't work, but we're not gonna work on that today.
the software is kind of where a lot of the art stuff takes place,
Uh-huh.
and the machine is more of a tool to realize that artistic vision.
Right,
So if you're just kind of getting into it, I would, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on a high-end machine, if you spend a little bit of money on the software, you'll get, because the high-end machines have a lot of built-in editing stuff that's really nice, but you can compensate for that with software. So I would really encourage you, if you are just looking to get into the embroidery game, just to kind of play with it, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on a super high-end machine, even if you pick up like, I'm not a big fan of them, like a PE7, like the old the PE 800, you can pick those up fairly
because they have
expensive.
smaller screens too, and having your
Yeah.
software next to you allows you to get
Yes,
it bigger and
because
see exactly what's gonna go
the
on.
less
That's
expensive
the biggest-
machines have
smaller screens.
Smaller screens. There's a lot of
Yeah.
disadvantage to a smaller machine that the software alleviates that issue.
Right.
And it's in, like I said, Embrilliance for $150 is well worth it. And then, like I said, that's what I would encourage you.
I just love the my brain goes, wait a minute, and you'll see. My brain said, bless our nest. My brain said, I can put this all in one hoop. I got a scanner. So I actually laid out the entire,
Is something that busted there, Eddie?
oops, on my thing. I actually laid out, whoop.
Can you unplug it
You want me to unplug it?
and then plug back?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, you lost my thing? There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so let me blow that up a little bit. I actually laid out the entire placemat as one file. That allowed me to be able to use color sort. And I can use that if I paid attention, because by naming something an applique positioning or applique material, Essentials automatically says, oh, don't fiddle with that order.
Yeah.
That order's important, so don't you be fiddling with that. So you don't have to worry about it's going to do my satin stitch before it puts my chick down. It knows enough. No, the chick has to go first. So when I color sorted this, I saved 54 color changes.
And that's what kind of goes back to the point we're talking about with software, is a lot of the lower end machines don't have that color sort function, and it's a real nice function when you start getting into this sort of stuff.
Yeah, especially when you're doing
Yeah.
3 white chickens. I want to do 3 white chickens.
Yeah. There's no point in swapping every 2 minutes. because-
Right. The
because you're
other
doing one
the
chicken
other
at a
thing
time.
it
Yep.
did. There we go. See, it allowed me to put I
The
customized.
stoles.
Yes, I customized
How do your kids feel
my
about
nest.
chickens?
They like chickens.
Okay, I'm just
We
curious.
all love chickens.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like a you thing or if it's like a family thing.
Mm-hmm, we love our chickens.
Okay. Have you told them that they love their chickens? Is that how that works?
No, they really love the chickens. They're very nice. Anyway, stop picking on my chickens.
Oh, we had chickens growing
Anyway,
up. I hated them.
so
the rooster
the
attacked us
beauty-
more than once.
The beauty is what I'm going to show you today is we're just going to do the scanner. I'm going to lay in a design. And you're going to, again, if you have the scanner or the, what do they call it, snap mat? What do they call it on the Stellaire?
I don't know. There's an app for it.
Okay, whatever.
I call it imaging.
But
imaging
those
function,
of you,
yes.
a lot of you have the Dream Machines and the Luminaires, and this is a no-brainer as far as
And
I'm concerned.
if there's somebody out there that's a designer for a dime who makes the snap hoops,
Yes,
I'm just going to throw this out there. If you want to make some money, figure out
how to do it
how to get the imaging
on a
the imaging registration marks on the magnetic hoop, because
I-
that would be
I think it's going to be a money thing. But
yeah, that would
maybe not.
really add some functionality to the
Yeah.
Stellaire.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go in. I gave you the stick, I think. Let's go into embroidery. Yep, and we're going to go into the pocket.
I want to open this up.
First, I want to show them wirelessly so they see how much I get in
Okay.
there. I
So if
probably
you-
have
we
some
have this-
chickens there too. Let's see.
So that would be your wireless
Yeah, you
download.
scroll down. Oh, we can use one of those. See how I call them my chicken too? Because I know I've done something to it. I'll rename them when I've done something to it. And my chicken 1, my chicken 2.
My chicken.
My
pie.
chicken.
My chicken
So,
pot pie.
This is where the wireless stuff ends up. It ends up in here. So let's choose my chicken 1.
My chicken 1.
Yeah, let's choose my chicken. I guess
Okay.
I had it all in here. I didn't need
Where do you
to
want
do
the
this
my
yet.
chicken design? That way you have them all.
No, not for this example because
Okay.
not everybody has the biggest tool.
Okay.
And I'm trying to show you how easy it is to scan and place it.
But if they scan in place, they have a big hoop.
Well, this is 10 by 16,
Oh, okay.
not 9 by
Okay,
14, not
okay.
8 by 10.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we got him in, but let's do a scan, Brent. No,
We don't want to set up for embroidery?
No,
Okay.
I want to do a scan.
Okay, I'll hit return.
Right here, do a scan.
We're going to scan with that button there. We're just
Yeah,
going to scan
we're
that.
going to scan our background image.
We're gonna
It's
hit
telling us
okay.
it's going to move and hit your belly if it's in the way.
Yeah. My belly's always in
That's
the
a
way.
warning, move body parts, so it doesn't mess up the scan. Also, if you have the luminaire, you also have the projector as well. But I wanted to show the scan because more people have the scan or the imaging capability.
Yeah, and the luminaire scans a lot quicker.
There are other ways to do the lining up too, by the way, if you don't have the scanner, but I wasn't. Oh!
Did we just get a hiccup?
We did get a hiccup. They tried it it was on the All Brand show.
Yeah.
They had a brother educator who was trying to show something, and oh my gosh, like 6 times the machine wouldn't scan.
That's not good.
So Brother Tech got online and said, we think it's a voltage issue. But I thought, and we all thought, they meant with the person's studio. And I said, oh, I never want to be that happening to me. This worked at home just fine.
It might be a voltage issue. A lot of times the electronics are very sensitive to voltage input, and so all these machines, it comes out of the wall like 120 volts, give or take. It's not perfect. And then it gets converted to DC voltage in the machine. And then so if it can't get enough volts out of the wall, then it just goes into a reset. And the most energy intensive process on
Let's try this again.
is going to be the processing of scanning.
Well, looks like we'll be going to the workshop. Everybody in here with their brother is scanning just fine. I mean, with a dream machine. And I said, no, I want to use my Luminaire today. So I parked the dream machine. Come on.
But you'll notice when it happens, it's on the processing side of it.
It is, because it
very,
does the scanning.
Yeah, it's very, so the processing is very, energy intensive.
It finished that part. And then
Yeah.
Come on, please, pumpkin. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, so Brent, what you see on the screen is
A chicken
that's not in the right spot.
not even close to the right spot.
So
we can also, if we want to make that a little bit darker,
Yes, you can.
or you can make it lighter. But do we want to go darker or lighter?
I liked it just the way it was.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there then. But our chicken is not in the right spot.
It isn't, so now we go to edit.
Now, if you're on a dream machine, I'm just going to show this to people.
It's still edit on the dream machine.
Yes, it's edit there, but if you notice on the Luminaire, you have layout on the second machine. On a dream machine, the second one is also edit. So the second edit, I always refer to as the memory edit, because it's memory in the corner. That's just a minor.
But on both machines, it is the first
The
edit
first one is
you want
edit.
to go to, and you want to use the rotate. So we've rotated the little guy.
Is that the direction we want
Yeah,
to put her?
I'm not letting you stitch her anyway. But
Yeah.
Is she number 1 or number 2?
It's my chicken one.
Well, we can just show how we're not stitching out. But see how he's moving it into position? That's actually number 1, which is over here.
Do you want me to put her over there?
Yeah, because she's a different size.
And then you
If
can,
you look at the design, the inside one is an inch bigger
and
than
you
the
can
outside
use your
ones.
arrows, or you can actually drag it with your finger like I just did
Yes,
if you
you
want.
did.
The other thing I'm going to show while we've got this up is if you come up here, our frame size, we're actually on a 10.5 by 16. Okay. The reason why, if previously you had that little outline in there, that was the
Is in
smaller
the way.
hoop. Yeah.
Look at our chicken. Look at our chicken. She's ready to rock and roll.
Do we want to show them how it looks with the projector?
Yeah. Let's bring in another chicken.
Bring in another chicken?
This
Okay.
is another. You can bring in more than one.
Okay, that's chicken 1. So now we're going to bring in chicken
Add.
2. And I'm glad you're here to keep me from
Didn't
No.
you
Hitting
name
all the
these
wrong
by
buttons.
now?
No.
my chicken 2.
Chicken 2. Yeah, she's the fatter one.
Does that mean she's happier because she's fatter? Because you're always.
I don't know if that's the truth. Her chickies hatched. That's why she's happy.
And then we can move that over there.
Do y'all see the power of this?
And what's nice too is if you didn't put that in the hoop exactly straight,
Yeah,
you notice up here,
You can
you've got
it looks like it needs a little rotate.
tenth of a degree
Yeah.
increments. But that one probably will just do a 1. You know, let's see. That one's off a hair. About like
I'd
that.
move it down a little too.
Well, I was gonna move it down a little
Okay.
after but you said rotate it, so I thought I should do that
And I
first.
move it this way a little too.
More over here, yes.
Yeah. Now,
And
do y'all see how cool this is?
Now,
I'm
keep-
not re-hooping these chickens each and every time. I'm not even getting stabilizer out.
the other thing to keep in mind when
Is
you're
this
placing
wild?
when you're placing stuff, remember your 1/4 inch seam along your
Yeah, I have tape actually over
Okay,
mine.
yeah. But that's
Some
just,
people will use blue tape there to say, hey, don't go
because
here.
I've seen a lot of people go crazy, you know, they get the
Or
perfect
they'll draw blue.
well, they get a perfect thing all laid out, nice and perfect, and then they stitch it out, and it's a block, and they put it right up to the edge, so when they add their 1/4 inch
Yeah,
seam.
that's why I was trying to line it up with this guy down here.
Yep.
And I would still center him more than that because that's how picky I am. But now what you now see, I could load in chicken 3.
You
I could
could.
load in the whole darn thing if I wanted to. But at
But
whatever hoop you have, if you have an 8x8, guess what? You got 4 you can load in.
And then if we go
Now-
to
Want to
yeah. Now the other thing is
show
on the
the
layout.
projector?
Now this is another thing I'm just going to show real quick. We're
Okay,
here.
okay.
Is when you go to the second layout, you have those same options of move and rotate, but they are going to do both of these at once
Yeah,
because the second one is a layout, so it's going to treat everything. You'll notice if
as
if
a
I start
group.
moving it, you see how they're both moving? That's because that's the second layout button is the layout button moves the entire
It's the
everything.
layout of what's on the screen.
Yeah.
That's what got me in trouble with my basting stitch.
Yeah. Okay, so and then on this screen here, you also on the luminaire. You're not gonna have this on a dream machine, but this is what I thought this is the thing that wowed me the first time.
Here's
I saw
the
one
thing
of these.
about the projector that I've learned. It is more accurate than my scanner.
Mhm.
It is.
Oh, it's a lot more.
And I
accurate.
don't know why, but it is so accurate.
I'm just gonna move
So
that
sometimes I'll
over
use the
there.
projector and I'll get close, but I have the scanner and I get good, and then I put the projector on and I go, oh, and I'll do 1 or 2 this lifter. I'll fine tune it
Yeah,
with the
you've
projector.
got a small.
Is that showing up on the screen? It is, yay.
Oops.
Ooh, it was.
Yeah. You've only got a small window of the projector, but it's enough that you can check the edges on things. So
Well, you
see
can
how-
move it.
Yeah, we can move that. We can move that window
Back to-
around.
Eddie, can you go back to
No, I've
this
got-
camera?
I've got this. Does
Oh,
that,
you're good.
oh, I'll move this camera back.
I wanted to show them how they moved
Okay.
it.
As I make everybody sick. Because, we're professionals.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
I wanted to show them how easy it was to move the
Yeah, so if you're
projector.
over here, this red rectangle represents your scan
The
area.
projector.
What you're seeing in your projector. So as I move it, you'll notice that my bed moved, and then that changed what we're seeing on
And
the
I'm
bed.
telling you, you see where my chicken wire is?
And if
That's where it's going to stitch.
If you're watching this at home, you're seeing a little bit of a rainbow go across there. That's an artifact from the camera. You're not going to see that on the machine.
Really?
It's kind of cool though.
You can turn this down a little too. I don't know if that will help. No.
You just change
I
the-
can't see
yeah.
the chicken wire.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see, but
Well, they
that
can- they can
chicken
see-
wire
they can
is
see the
like
pattern, but I'm
dead
just-
on.
I'm just saying that you can see the pattern. I'm just saying you can see how that rainbow effect.
Yeah.
But you can see.
So you can just sail around with your projector.
And usually I like to check the edges of the just the edge of the
Like to
design.
make sure I'm not going into this gray square
Yeah, like I'm
when
gonna-
he moves it down.
I'm gonna move it over there to see where the two
Okay.
come together.
Now this is where there's an intersection. I've got a little too much wiggle room over here for my liking. This is where I'd go. Now I want to center it better this way, but it looks real good along there.
Yeah, and you can all kind of see if you're looking at that. You can kind of see the chicken wire on there.
Yeah.
So you get a really good idea of where that and where you see that projector is what it's actually where it's going to stitch.
If it doesn't, you need to talk to Brent
Yes.
because it's really accurate.
Yeah,
it really
and
is.
it
It is the
can-
most, even more accurate than my laser pointer.
And it's going to be more accurate than your image as well because the image you've got unevenness in the fabric. This is going to get away from any sort of bumps and valleys. But that's
Do you want to show? I don't know if I took it out or not. If we go, remember how we talked about last week? You said, "Do you know you can do that applique thing on your sewing machine?" Remember
Yeah.
how I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
the
yeah.
placement? I might have taken them out on the My Chicken, but I think on the stick you might have juju stuff. But look to see
Yeah, we can
on
double
that
check.
chicken.
So if
There
we
is
don't-
a way to create your applique FCM files from your machines.
Yep.
Now, if you don't have one of the brand new scanning cuts, you will have to download them to a USB stick and then put the USB stick into
The
your
scan-
scanning cut.
But all scanning
it
cuts
does
will
it.
read the file. You
All
don't,
scanning cuts will read the file.
Yep.
If you're not using a scanning cut and you're using another device like the Silhouette or the Cricut Design Center, Silhouette actually reads FCM files as well
and I can
and outputs to everybody.
And the
So
way you
there's
can-
all sorts of other ways to get around
And the
this.
way you can create that is like I'm just over here doing a color check, and so I'm just going to go through the colors,
I might have taken them out.
and so that's a outline on all that. It looks like you
That's
took them out.
satin stitch.
Yeah.
If you go to the stick, you might find her originals.
Okay.
Remember I
Are we
I
doing
played
it?
with
We want to pull this off, or want to just add to it?
either way. No, just pull it off. Yeah. I actually used Embrilliance Essentials to take out all the extra steps I didn't want, because I can. But keep in mind, you could have just skipped over them. I also already had all my chicken shapes, Eddie. I also had all my chicken shapes pre-cut. Here, these are all my chicken shapes, pre-cut, ready to go for this placemat. So I'm not sitting there with scissors or anything. These are very, very accurate. In fact, they're so accurate they drive me crazy sometimes, because what Embrilliance does is it doesn't save the artwork, which is nice and smooth. It saves the actual stitches. So when it cuts, let me show you a close-up example. When it cuts, you'll see on this chicken, for instance, its head is kind of looks choppy. It goes, see that? That's because this file was made from stitches, and that's what the stitches look like. Now, if I do other software, which cost a whole lot more money, which is what I did for Frosty, because it was driving me crazy to see these on the Frosty kits. If I use a different, literally a $1,300 piece of software, I can get rid of the But let me tell you something. Once you put them on here and you do your satin stitch,
Nobody cares.
they're
Nobody can see
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
They really are perfect. And Frosty, we were doing blanket stitch, and that bothered Becky, so she went up.
Okay, if you
She
want to
didn't
come over
use it
to
in
here real
Essentials.
quick, I'll just show you this.
Okay. This
pretty
is
quick.
cool if you haven't done this. How many have done this?
Well, so if you come over, I've just loaded up the standard chicken file. I'm going to go into the colors over here, and we've got all this. So that's going to be your placement stitch, or your tack down stitch. Placement tack down, and I don't know what that one's about. I think that's your side neck placement.
Is Eddie sleeping?
But anyway,
Did we get you caught up, Gene? I think he was chewing on a penguin.
so this file here, if we look at our machine, we can see that that's going to be the placement stitch for the whatever they call those. And then there's your tack down. So we can take the placement stitch, and if you come down here to color, we want to change that to is it, embroidery, I believe.
And then scroll down.
Yeah, if it lets me scroll down. Oh, come on. Oh, wait.
I have a stylus on
You
it.
have a
Yeah,
stylus?
it's on the side, I think.
I can't see the bottom of the screen.
You can't see the bottom. Oh, that's good. You didn't get to watch me struggle.
Because he hasn't been able to get it down to the bottom. The magic is at the bottom.
Yeah,
There it is. See these
so if-
buttons? How many you know what these do?
So this is going to be, what you've got here is, one of those is that, if you actually highlight that, applique position, to what it calls your applique
See?
position.
Same terminology.
Yep. And that's going to be your applique material.
Yep.
Now, if you'll notice on the applique material, there is a scissor on that. So if I change this to my applique material, wait, actually that's my placement. And then that one, oops, I believe that one there's my actual material. So if you change your applique material, what that will do now is if we export this, save it to a thumb drive,
We're saving that thing.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah, so if we were to save that to a thumb drive and then plug that into a scanning
Scanning
cup,
cut.
it would read that applique cut, that applique material function
Mhm.
as a
We'll
cut
cut
file.
it out.
And
Cut it
there is a way to adjust the
What was the third button?
the third button. That's a good question. I don't know. Let's find out.
You gotta go to
Yeah,
embroidery.
you gotta go embroidery.
You gotta go to the
Basic
Basic embroidery
that's your
one.
applique switch. So that's gonna be
Yeah.
the satin stitch.
so that you choose between the satin stitch or the blanket stitch.
Yep.
It will do a blanket.
So that's how you would like
It's
to say.
pretty cool, and that's without
if-
extra software.
Yeah, so if you've
that's
got
our
a-
machines.
If you've got a scan and cut and you have a Dream Machine or a Luminaire, you can export your cut files from the embroidery pattern
You
itself.
just have to set them first.
Yeah, you have
to identify them as a position or material
and
or
then you
an
save,
applique
yeah.
in this case.
and you save it to a thumb drive. Plug the thumb drive into your machine,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll just pull those files up for you. And you just manipulate them from there.
Yep,
But that's
and
a-
then you end up with all these little pieces, so you
Yeah.
don't have to sit there and trim in the hoop. Because I don't know about you folks, but I don't like trimming in the hoop. Now, if you got one of those little Clover mini irons, I should have brought one. What I end up doing, and you probably should cover your ears, Brent. What I end up doing is leaving my hoop right here
Mhm.
and putting my chicken piece down and taking my little Clover mini
Why would I
iron and
close my
go.
ears for that? That sounds like a fantastic idea.
And now I'm not even taking it out of my hoop to put my pieces on.
That's a fantastic idea. Why
And
would I-
this will identify,
It's an iron near the machine.
if you do what I did and you combined them all ahead of time and did a color sort, it goes around and it wants all your placement pieces first. So you can sit there and put all, because it's satin stitch, I can put, well, maybe there's two that overlap. Most of these do not overlap. So we'll actually stitch out all my placement stitches at once so I can stick them all down and then go right into embroidery mode.
And then, did we want to show them that, or are we good?
No,
We're good. We had fun.
I'm not letting you put my chickens
I
on.
wasn't gonna stitch it. I was just loading it up. But so yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah. So go over here, Eddie.
scan it one more time with the. Is
Okay.
that my
Yeah.
my chickens?
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I'm gonna do.
All right. Show
So
that.
this is a version of what she has up on the software, and we're just gonna scan our background back in.
If you don't have voltage issues.
We should be. It did it once.
I've never heard of voltage issues. This is that not scanning thing. It's like in the air. Mercury retrograde is back. Is it? Did you
No.
Google it to see if we were going on Mercury retrograde?
It says it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, but you see, we
It's
switched.
just Becky.
I'm wondering if it's also because this was, if there's something going on with the voltage issue between this and the, because it's into a power strip. But like I said, it's definitely an input issue.
Okay. So how cool is that?
So now if you come back over here, you can see that we've got it scanned in. We have to just,
You have my entire placemat is now sitting on top of my hoop.
and this is interesting actually. You see this weird color up here?
Yeah.
Because of the nature of your
Material?
material, it just kind of gave our scanner a little bit of a hiccup.
Oh. Well, luckily I know I don't have a gray square there.
Yeah. And we're just gonna, but you can see
And
we're
those
gonna
are
line
little
that up.
chicken feet fabric. Get it?
But now, doing them all at once though,
You only got like a layout to play with.
yeah, you
you don't
can't
have
fine
individual.
tune. Yeah, you can't fine tune it to your
Heart's content.
Yeah, but that actually looks
Yeah, I
pretty
was
good.
gonna say, come on.
I would say that's pretty
And
decent
come
right there.
down, come down, come
Oh
down.
yeah, I can see where we want to come down. But yeah, that's,
What do you think of that?
and then you just press OK.
Yeah.
And
But
then we-
show the go to the scanner one more time.
with the scanner.
Yeah, I want to show off my name tag. Okay,
Oh, the scanner.
I mean projector.
the projector.
My
I'm like,
goodness.
yeah, okay.
All right.
Oh yeah, so this will actually work really good because what we're gonna do now is bring this over here.
Yep. Just like that.
Wait,
Right there, right in the middle. There I am.
Yep, so you can kind of see.
See?
See how that's
See?
lined right up in
I
the.
could go down a little bit, but that's pretty darn good.
But if you can see now that we got a really good idea where that's at. That's where the scanner
That's
comes in
really
super handy.
will that's really will end up too.
Yeah, and
Does a
that's
good job of
exactly
that.
what we'll stitch out, and you can kind of see that on the, and that actually comes out really good. And we'll just bring it over here.
So I hope what I've done is have you start to think about I mean, there's so many neat things out there, and we automatically just follow the instructions.
Yeah.
They have to be written that way because the whole world doesn't have the bigger hoops.
And the
They're
fancy
not going to
machines.
make money if they keep saying, well, here's the 10 by and the 12 by and So more often than not, you're going to get these individual little squares. And you sit there, I've done it. I've done every Kimberbell quilt project the way they've told me to. Guess what I'm not going to do again? I'm done. This is so much faster and so much easier, even if you don't want to do adjustments in the software.
Yeah.
Just to superimpose it and then jump out the stuff you don't want. But
Yeah.
for me, whoo, color sort.
Yeah, and as a kind of as a side note too, it's not going to do us any good here, but there is a color sort button. I know
Does
this.
that keep track of applique positions though? I
If
don't
you
believe
went
it
if you
does.
went through and did the applique, I imagine it would.
I'll have to test that because
But-
I'm not so.
but
I
this-
don't want to do
yeah.
that. I'm used to essentials, man. It's under 150
but there is
bucks.
there is a color sort option built into the machines.
There is. I
Um,
have not had a lot of good luck with it in that it just what.
My experience with it is if you're doing like a bunch of little things, it works great. I have not really played with it with applique,
Okay.
but if you were doing like I know like Mercy
like-
does, we'll do like a bunch of little keychains.
But I have to have my green leaves. Ed, can you show my computer again? I have to have this color before this color.
Yes.
It's underneath it. I have to have these before these because they nest up underneath it. So
Well,
these come after my eggs are put down.
the way color sort works best on the on this is if it's all the same pattern. So say you're trying to do, are you doing you've got a key. I'll use keychains because people like to do those little embroidery keychains. You can get like a dozen of them on one of these hoops.
Right.
So you could do them in a dozen individual keychains, or if you color sort it, it will do all the colors at once for each one. But
Know
it,
what I would do?
but it would keep them in order. But with different patterns, I'm not sure how that would
Yeah,
work
I
out.
know what I would do.
What would you do?
Use the border function, 2-in-1. It splices them all across the screen. Then
Yeah.
I know my color sort's going to be right.
Yeah.
It keeps it doesn't mess with my order. Color sort can mess with my order.
It can, yes.
Does mess with my order actually. But if I have to make 12 keychains, I'm putting in one and I'm replicating it using my border
Yeah.
feature, and it will
Oh, that
do
makes sense,
all
yeah.
of step 1, all of step
Yeah.
2, all of step 3. Bada bing, bada boom.
That makes even more sense than color sort. But it does have color sort if you want to
I
mess with
think
it.
so. Color sort's dangerous.
It is, yeah. Always double check check your stitch out before you go crazy
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, I've been burned before.
But anyway,
It-
is that all we got today?
Yes, I thought that was a lot.
It was a lot, but I want to make sure we got
I just
everything.
didn't think of this before.
This is fun.
Probably all of you
Okay.
out there go, well, Becky, we don't know where you've been. We do it like that all the
Hmm.
time.
Well, if that's the case, then
Then you should have come and shared it.
yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us for another episode of Shenanigans with Becky and Brent. Join us again next week for this same excitement. Remember, sew on and be excellent to each other.
Ta-da!